Welcome to This Is Football. Bienvenidos a This Is Football. Nico, what's up, man? How's it
What's
going,
up? What's
bro?
up, Danny? What's up?
Not
What's up,
much,
Danny?
man.
Not going so well after yesterday. It was a rough day for Miami overall. I mean, well, Marlins didn't do so
Yeah,
bad,
man.
but
I mean, I
Miami
saw
overall wasn't so good.
I saw you tweeted that, man. I saw a little bit about the Inter Miami game, about the Heat not getting Dame Lillard. But we're gonna keep it strictly to soccer, at least
Am
on today's show.
am I seeing something correctly there underneath your name? What the hell? What does it say underneath your name there?
It says cómo bailaron a la Rosita ayer. Y bueno,
Oh man, are you mocking La Rosita? Is that what you're
no,
doing?
I'm not mocking. I'm just being honest, bro. I just report
Oh,
honest and facts. So
oh,
that's just how it is,
I don't
man.
know.
So
It seems a little on the sarcastic point of view.
no. But I do want to get. I do have a little rant that I want to get into against La Familia. Uh, you know,
Ooh,
yeah. So it's gonna get a little spicy. We're gonna have a really interesting episode. We'll talk a little bit about the games that are left on the season. We'll recap a little bit about El Baile de Ayer de Noche from Houston at home at Drive Pink Stadium. I want to ask you a couple questions on some things that I thought were a little cringy. And then I'm gonna rant a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit about those ticket prices that came out, huh? How crazy,
wow,
huh?
wow. That's all I gotta
Yeah,
say for now. Wow,
yeah. So
wow.
our production team did a little bit of research earlier today, so we have some comparisons to other leagues, other major sports leagues in the U.S., as well as some comparisons to other teams around the MLS, and so that we can compare, the Inter Miami prices and what they've done. Some of them doubled and tripled
Yeah,
what they currently have. I know one of my friends, he was paying $4,000 and they just raised it to $11,000. So we're definitely gonna get into that. I know
are we gonna get a little bit of Spanish in the show too? We might do some little Spanish in there,
100%, 100%. We're gonna do Spanish. I know that we have our buddy Sebas Crackball over in Mexico. He said he was gonna watch the show tonight. Así
Así
que si
que
lo
hay que
estás
hablar un poquito de
mirando,
español.
y sí, hay que hablar un poquito español para los seguidores de él y bueno, también para los seguidores nuestros que hablan español. Así que
Sí, tenemos muchos seguidores en español, así que no se pierdan, que vamos a estar dando nuestro análisis también y vamos a hablar un poquitito del Inter Miami también en español.
exactamente. Así que bueno, empecemos, vamos arriba, vamos a empezar a hacer un recap del partido de ayer, que los dos estuvimos ayer.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Bueno, I'll give it to you from the start, man. So I was there early, man. I was there early. I got there like around 3:30, 4 o'clock. I was, met some folks from US Soccer. I had to deal with all the rain. It was crazy, man, but it was cool to see slowly the people get into the stadium, the atmosphere there. Once again, bro, I was offered some milanesa al pan, unos choripanes,
Oh, okay.
something that I
So it's
tweeted. I
like
don't know
every
if you
match.
saw.
So it's like every match you're getting food out there, huh? You don't even have
Yeah,
to pay
bro.
for food.
No, man, no.
Okay.
But something I saw that was interesting, bro. You saw they were selling mates right outside the
Yeah.
stadium, pink, white, and black.
Well,
I don't
people
know
are
if you
trying to
saw.
make their money. People are trying to make their money however they can, honestly. I don't know if you saw it, but over the parking lot, I think I saw over like 15 people selling jerseys, dude.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Before the game, after the game, selling
Is that
hats,
is that even
bucket
is that
hats.
even legal? Is that even legal? Like,
It's
can they
not.
sell like jerseys?
No, it's not. And
Because
I
I know
saw them.
I know you can sell the bucket hats because it has nothing to do with the team. But like, if you're selling a replica jersey at the stadium when they have their own store, I don't think that's considered legal, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not. I saw the security after the Toronto game last Wednesday. Right after the game, people were trying to take advantage, selling, taking out of their backpacks. I saw the security bring out the cop, and they arrested like 6 or 7 people. So they basically told them, look, if you want to sell them, just go across the street. As long as you're off the property, you can sell the jerseys. So for those of you that follow us and sell jerseys, now you know. The cop said as long as you're across the street from the stadium, not on their
Yeah.
property, you can sell jerseys. So you can make a lot of money out there, man. There's a lot of people that are willing to
Yeah.
pay money for that jersey. That's
Shout out
$200
shout,
at the team store.
shout out to Everett and his contact.
Yeah, man, and his boy out there. So
That's all I'm
let's
gonna
get
say.
let's get into that game, man. Bro, the first half was disappointing, man. I saw something like 16 shots from Houston, to
18,
only
18
one.
to 18 to 1. That
Yeah,
was the halftime statistics of the game. It wasn't
Absolutely.
18 shots on target. There were only 5 shots on target, but that that game almost seemed like in the first half, Miami should have been down at least by 4 or 5 goals.
Absolutely. At least 4 or 5 goals. I mean, Drake Callender had 2 or 3 fantastic saves. One where he saved it, dropped the ball, and then made a second save with his feet, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he definitely saved Inter Miami quite a bit in the first half. And really, in the second half is where I think Tata Martino kind of put his hand on the team, and we saw a much different Inter Miami. I kind of questioned Tata
Now,
Martino starting Diego Gomez.
now, yeah, you go back into that. Now, can we say that we saw a different Inter Miami, or can we say that Houston held back a little bit, having a 2-0 lead?
I think it was a little bit of both, and I think HH mentioned it in his post-game interview with Nico Cantor yesterday. He said it. We went out to look for the result in the first half, and then we knew we were comfortable holding that 2-0 lead, and so we kind of sat back. So I think it's a combination of both. Inter Miami going to look for the win because they did put another 9 in there. You had Joseph and Campana both playing together, which we don't see that often on this team, and a
Yeah, not at all.
combination and that combination of Houston maybe getting comfortable sitting back and allowing Inter Miami to attack them because they really weren't getting much. I mean, Inter Miami kind of looked like the Colombia of the 90s, just touching, and really not getting any penetration into the box.
It's zero. There was zero threat, and that was primarily because Ben Olsen had a great tactical game. He closed in his midfielders with Carrasquilla, Artur, and Hector Herrera for Busquets primarily, and Farias, which were our biggest threats going forward, to not receive the ball at specific locations in the field.
Right.
Busquets was very, very uncomfortable in the first half. I saw at least like 6, 7 uh misled passes from Busquets, which is rare to see, with the quality of a player he is, to see something like that, it's very, very odd. And obviously, fatigue took place, I
Right.
felt like by the minute 35 or almost 40th, the team looked like they were dragging. I even saw there was a play, I don't know if you remember, where Kremashi had the ball and we had a perfect counter attack. It was a 4-on-3 against them, and he couldn't even drag the ball out of his feet to go forward.
Yeah.
So those things you got to also consider. The fact that they're playing every 3-4 days is very, very uncomfortable, especially for how thin the roster is in this team.
Not just this team, but the MLS overall. And
Yeah,
I know that that's
overall,
something
of
that a
course.
lot of coaches have complained about this year with the added tournament of the Leagues Cup, and teams playing multiple games. A lot of coaches we've heard, at least over the last month, 2 months, with all these games kind of piling up. We've heard them. One of the big ones who we've heard multiple times complain is Steve Cherundolo, the coach over at LAFC. He actually mentioned it last night when they played, the version of the Recopa, right, where it's the MLS champion, I guess, what the champion
Yeah,
of
the
the
Campeones Cup.
Yankees.
The
Right. So
Campeones Cup.
and he said it. Hey, the roster is too thin. MLS needs to make a change. They need to allow maybe more players or more young players, maybe even a fourth DP. That's something that you and I have talked about
It's
in
coming.
private,
It's coming.
and
That's
and
coming.
we've
That's
we've
coming.
talked about with folks that around Apple in the league, and we know that that's something that's definitely going to come. And that fourth DP could be Modric. Let's throw that out there. We know Beckham has been meeting with him. He doesn't seem to be getting the playing time in Real Madrid, but that's a conversation for another program. Let's stick to what we decided to talk about today, and that's a little bit of that Inter Miami Houston game. And another thing that Tata said, and I think is 100% true, is you mentioned the team has been playing a lot. They play almost one game every 4.2 days. That's kind of
Yes.
crazy if you think about it, and that's a really high intensity. They played already 2 finals in the last month. So, I mean, these games are crazy. I saw an Inter Miami yesterday in the first half that was much, I don't want to say, I want to say lethargic. They were just kind of, no, se parecían que estaban cansados, ¿no? Tipo, que le faltaba.
Yeah, we saw an Inter Miami team that was closer to what we were used to seeing with Phil Neville rather than what we were seeing with Tata Martino. Let's be
Right,
honest there.
a more passive team, kind of
Correct.
waiting for the game to come to them instead of
Correct.
that normal Tata, strategy where it's vamos a buscar el partido, let's pressure up top, let's get a turnover and get a counter and get a goal. That's what we've been used to the last month and a half. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely it was a much different team. Definitely back to the Neville ball, if you guys are watching us here live or on anything, definitely comment and let us know if you want to
Yeah, let
chime
us
in
know
on
what you thought
anything.
about the game. Let us know what you
Yeah,
thought
man.
about the game as well.
Especially if you were there. If you don't mind, I kind of want to get into something, with La Familia. I'm a little upset at La Familia yesterday. I spend a
Tell us
lot of
about it.
time. Yeah, man. I spend a lot of time. Usually, all my games, I go stand by La Familia. I thought it was weird, man. They kicked me out yesterday. They kicked me out because I didn't have a special wristband that said that I was able to start there. I mean, I don't know what's this, the whole
Special
privacy
wristband.
about. Yeah, apparently you need a special wristband to stand where La Familia stands, and I don't understand what is this whole trying to be so secluded or being like this like private group or like, bro, La Familia is for everybody. If I want to, even if I have a
I mean, the
ticket for
name
anywhere
says
in
it
the
all, right?
stadium,
The
that's what I'm
name
saying.
says it all, right?
If I have a seat for anywhere in the stadium, but I want to go stand with La Familia, make a space for me, man. I want to go and chant and cantar and alentar el equipo.
Oh,
Like, don't make me go
it
sit in my
depends,
ticket.
though. But it depends, though, because if they do that to you, if you have the privilege to go there just because you have a ticket, then they got to do it with the rest of the people, and then they're not gonna have any space. So I get their point of view in that sense, in that aspect. But at the same time, they can treat it a little better.
Absolutely. The other gripe I have
Another
with them is they
one of
didn't
the
sing
things.
the whole game.
Let's get into that. One of the things that I want to get into when it comes to the singing, they sing 3-4 songs, right? Which is great, right?
It's the same ones over and over.
Yeah, but people don't even know the freaking songs, man. Like
No, none.
if you want people to engage, the fans that get there, make like a little paper or something and start giving them out so that people know the damn songs prior to the games. That way they can go ahead of time and sing the songs along.
Absolutely. I
At
can't. I
least,
can't.
at least that's how it's done in South America. I don't know anywhere else, but
I completely agree. So I thought it was funny. So at points in the game, some people know a part of the song and it would get really loud, and then in the middle of the song, it gets really quiet because nobody except for maybe the 45 people who created the song and sing it every week know the actual song. Not only that, but they sing the same 4 songs every single game. It's like, come up with a new one. I don't know, man.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you go to a game in South America, you go watch Vélez, Independiente, even the smaller teams, Lanús, Atlético Tucumán, these teams that in Argentina, bro, they sing like 35 different songs and they come up with a new one every week. Vamos a cantar
Yeah.
algo nuevo, eh?
Yeah,
Eh,
it's a new fan base, so you can't complain. It's a new fan base. It's understandable.
Absolutely.
It's growing. It's growing.
Here, one of our followers, Kevin, says that they do have a link where they share the songs, so that's good to know. They have a link, and apparently they hand out a flyer with a QR code with the link
QR
so that
code.
you can
Okay,
look at the
but
song.
we're
So
getting we're getting more 21st century.
absolutely. So look, they
That's
don't
that's
have
much
they
better.
don't have El Papelita, and look, he says that Vice City has 14 songs. Well, Kevin, man, Vice City might have 14 songs, but yesterday they
They,
only
they don't
sang
sing the
four, bro.
14. They
They
don't
don't
sing
sing
the
the
14.
14. So we want to hear more
Well,
songs from Vice City. Yeah, I'm willing. I'm willing to come up with some new ones, man. I sing a lot of the ones in of Nacional, and we can kind of make them into
they can be
Inter
shared.
Miami. Yeah, absolutely, bro. And
Yeah.
I know there's some Boca fans, some River fans. I'm sure
Well,
Vélez has
that's
some
that's
interesting
what
ones. So
that's what La Familia is all about. I think La Familia is pretty much represented by people that come from other countries that they're fans of other teams, and then they happen to be Inter Miami fans because it's where they live now. But
of course,
most of
of
it is
course.
that way.
Absolutely. All right. One other thing I want to get into, and then I'll let you if you want to drop any of your bumps. And I know you have a couple that you want to drop. But I want to ask you something, man. And I tweeted this out and I got some, interaction today. One thing that I thought was super weird. Yesterday, the game was played at Dry Pink Stadium. It was an Inter Miami home game, right? Home game. But the 2 times that Houston Dynamo scored, they played their song. What the hell is that, man?
Well, it's because it's a final. It's even though it's an Inter Miami game, you still got to treat it as a final. When you play a Champions League final, you know, uh, both teams, have fans on both ends.
Yeah, but it's a new. But then play it at a neutral site. Don't play it at Dry Pink Stadium. Play it at a
Yeah,
neutral
you're
site, and
right.
then make it something where it's
That's
it's
true.
not a home game for one team. Similar. I
That's
mean,
true.
both you and
I
I were
really
at the
didn't
Champions League
understand that.
final.
I really didn't understand that. By the way, that song was terrible. That Houston song, awful.
Every
Guys,
song that they sang was terrible, man.
seriously, change it. It's awful. But yeah, I really don't know why. I really don't know why What they played that song.
Yeah, I mean, well, apparently, so since it was a game hosted by U.S. Soccer and the U.S. Soccer Federation, it's supposed to be, I guess a neutral, game so that they play for both. But I think that's ridiculous. Then choose a neutral site. Don't play it at one of the team stadium because, bro, I don't. If I'm a diehard Inter Miami fan and you play the Dynamo song at my stadium, bro, I'm gonna go up to the guy who's doing that and I'm gonna knock him out, bro.
Yeah, but
That's
now if
bullshit.
you played in a neutral field, like where would you play neutral? Houston against Miami.
You
You're
play it
gonna
in
play where?
Atlanta.
In New York? In
Atlanta.
Atlanta? You think you're gonna get enough Miami fans going to Atlanta to watch that game? A
Absolutely.
U.S. Open Cup game?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
No doubt. No doubt.
We gotta remember. We gotta remember that prior to Messi arriving, the U.S. Cup is non-existent to teams. Teams don't even care about playing this tournament. So Messi got here and everything's like, oh my God, here we go, we're gonna play against Messi, or here we go, a new title for Miami. you know
Yeah.
so let's get serious with it.
Let's get serious. So Inter Miami, loses yesterday. Let's move on. Now we're talking about going into the playoffs. I know that you, Socio, I think everybody except for me has basically said that they're not going to make the playoffs. We're gonna throw up, the rest of the schedule up there, like we have at every single show, and we can
Just do
talk
it.
through it a little bit. We can talk through it and see, what's left, and we'll see what we see. So, the last MLS game we played was against that team up in Central Florida that Inter Miami drew against, and the rest of the schedule is against teams
Woo!
that are direct rivals, man.
Woo! It gets tougher
NYFC,
by the day now.
yeah,
And here's the reason why I think it gets tougher by the day. Not because the teams that Miami plays are tough opponents, but because of how thin the roster's looking lately. Not only is fatigue a problem, injuries are starting to pile up now. You have Messi, which, by the way, the club doesn't want to reveal what's going on with him. They've been saying it's just fatigue, but if it was fatigue, he doesn't even dress up to the game, right?
absolutely.
So
Well,
what's
I'm
going on
gonna
to
tell.
that?
I mean, I had a little talk with a good friend of his on Tuesday, so I'll reveal what he told me, and it could be true, it could be not, but this is one of his best friends, so I have to take it for what it's worth, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. Then you have a couple of other players, which Jordi Alba might not even be ready for playoffs if they make playoffs,
Right.
because those injuries take a while. You have players coming back from injury which are not ready to play, just like yesterday we saw with Diego Gomez, making mistakes after mistakes on the field, and you have players who are on the verge of getting hurt, like Remachi, Taylor, etc.
Right.
So to me, that's gonna be the factor, if Miami can pull through and win a couple of games here and there, out of the five remaining, and jump the gun and make playoffs.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's still possible. Just based on the schedule, because like I said, there's they have two games in hand. And they play their direct rivals to get into the playoffs. So I think if they can get a few of these wins, then I think it's possible to make it.
I,
Chicago's not anything
I think
special.
I think they need
Cincinnati
12 out of 15. 12 out of 15, and they make it. They need
and
that.
and
They
I think
can't
it's
get any
doable.
less. I don't think they can get any less than that.
I think it's doable. I think Chicago is a winnable game. I think FC Cincinnati is going to be a winnable game because they've already clinched and will most likely be resting some of their players, especially the ones that will go, away for the international break that's coming up after that. I think the two games that are the trap games right here are this weekend's
Charlotte.
game against New York, because Messi's not going to play. And Jordi Alba's not going to play, and it's going to be a similar squad as to what you saw yesterday against Houston. And New York City might not be maybe as good as Houston, but New York City has some
They're on the
individual
rise.
talents. That's what I'm
They're
saying.
on
They
the
have
rise.
individual talents that could put away a goal, and you never know. So I think that game, and obviously that October 18th game against Charlotte, Nico, those are the two biggest games I think that are left on Miami's schedule. because of that October 18th game, you're gonna be missing a ton of players, at least
A
7 or
ton
8.
of players. Yeah, yeah. Especially because Campana might get called up, like we mentioned last week.
Right.
So we'll see. Those are definitely. I agree with you. Those are definitely the toughest games that Miami has. I pretty much, it's pretty much over if Miami doesn't win this weekend.
Right. So I'm putting up the the standings right there, and you can see Inter Miami still in the four in in that 14th spot in the East, at 32 points, but they're only 5 points behind that 9 point spot, that New York City spot. So I mean they're right there, and like you saw, Nico, we play Chicago and Charlotte, who are 12 and 13, and then we play New York City. So I mean, all winnable games, teams that are either out of the playoffs or just on the fringe. It's all about whether they can get those points or not. And I'm with you, Nico. I
Yep.
think if they lose this weekend if they don't even get a point against New York City this weekend at home,
No, they
I think it's done.
they got to win the home games. The home games have to be won by Inter Miami. You can't drop points on those. So you got to win against New York City. You got to win. You definitely got to win against Charlotte, and you got to win against Cincinnati. The Cincinnati one is a tricky one because whether Cincinnati brings their team or not, whether they bring their mixed team, we don't know. That's not a given. But we'll see. We'll see. I think those are the games that they need to win the most, and then decide who's going to travel for the away games.
Right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, obviously, Cincinnati has already, tied up or got a spot in the playoffs. I believe Orlando has already clinched. The West is just as tight as the East, man. Let me tell you, this is one of the
The
tightest.
West is tighter than the East. Actually, the West
I
is
know.
from the third spot down, it's loaded.
Yeah, but look, from the third to the
No, not
13th
even
spot,
from the
it's
second.
11 points. Or sorry, from the
Yeah, yeah,
second,
from
yeah,
the
from the
second.
second to almost the last place, it's 11 points. It's almost
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. It's
So I
it's
mean,
there.
the
Everything's there.
the MLS this year, I mean, if you are a fan of parody, then
You're
you are
watching
a
the MLS.
big fan of the MLS this season, because you cannot be more, I guess, alike than, or as close as in points as to what we've seen this season in the MLS. All right, man, let's switch topics a little bit. We've kind of talked about Inter Miami, and what they did yesterday, what's kind of coming up. And I want to get into a little bit of the Messi news to see what you can tell us, what I can tell us. I know the folks at home, and we can transition to Spanish because I know we're getting some more followers that are joining us, and they're probably some of the folks from Mexico, and some of the folks that are traveling here. So let's transition a little bit to Spanish as we
Let's do it.
talk into this next subject about Messi. So, bueno, Nico, ¿qué le pasa con Messi? Vos que hablás con algunos periodistas argentinos y vos que estás un poco más cerca del club que yo, ¿vos sabés algo que le pasa a Messi, o qué nos
Bueno,
puedes contar?
obviamente el club no está contando todos los detalles, ¿no? Se han estado guardando noticias dentro de lo que está pasando con Messi, porque si Messi estuviese bien, Messi ayer hubiera jugado. Eh, Aunque sea 15 minutos, 20 minutos, el jugador hubiera estado en la cancha,
Sí,
porque
sí.
entrenó.
Y
El
pará,
Tata en su conferencia dijo que entrenó.
y con todos los
Eh,
centros que tiraron ayer, los buenos centros, no nos faltó a Messi, ¿eh?
por Dios,
Así
por
que
Dios.
Messi por 15 minutos hubiera sido lindo, ¿no? Unos 3 centros para la cabecita de Campana, ¿no?
La cabecita de campana que no quiso meter.
No, no quiso. Pero bueno, así que Messi, como
Bueno,
decís
pero a
vos,
ver, como digo, hay un más allá, ¿no? Dentro de lo que está ocurriendo con Messi. Pudimos indagar un poquitito más y obviamente el jugador no tiene una lesión que lo está impidiendo eh, entrenar o impidiendo jugar, pero sí el jugador está ahí, a detalles, a bordes de romperse. Eso es lo que pudimos averiguar. Entonces, ese tipo de lesiones musculares por sobrecarga, por fatigas, se curan con tiempo, no es algo que uno pueda curar de la noche a la mañana, ¿no? Eso es, tenés que bajar, dosificar un poco y volver a recargar, ¿no? Messi estaba jugando demasiado, la verdad, y eran partidos donde, no, donde había mucha intensidad, se jugaba mucho, había mucho en sí, ¿no? La Leagues Cup, todos los partidos fueron partidos decisivos, era partidos a ganar o morir.
Sí,
Entonces, el hecho de tener que haber jugado todos esos partidos y cada 4 días, yo creo que le metió presión extra, ¿no? Y independientemente de eso, después ir a la selección y llegar de esa manera, pues se los recargó, ¿no?
sí. Y
En un
todo
jugador
eso,
que tiene 37 años.
y todo eso sin una pretemporada, ¿no? Porque Leo Messi, tipo, terminó la temporada con el PSG, donde no jugó algunos
Llegó
de
de
los últimos
vacaciones,
partidos. Por eso, se
estuvo de
fue de
vacaciones,
vacaciones. Y
llegó y a
sí,
los 5 días estaba jugando.
por eso, y se jugó, no sé, qué 15 partidos en 45 días, se fue a la selección. Y bueno, para un jugador de 36 años, que, mira, nosotros, vos que tenés 30 y pico, yo tengo 37, yo sé, digo, yo juego una hora y no puedo por 2 días. Imagínate jugarte 15 partidos en 45 días.
Sí,
Es
bueno,
una
no
locura, es una
comparemos, ¿no?
locura.
Messi, el físico que tiene Messi comparado al tuyo, no lo podemos comparar, ¿no? Pero bueno,
Pará, yo capaz que tengo unos kilos de más de Messi, pero estamos ahí de físico, ¿eh?
por Dios, por Dios.
Corremos más o menos igual en la cancha, ¿eh?
Sí, capaz.
Este, pero yo te puedo decir que el martes, mira, el martes, gracias a vos, me invitaron a una cosa ahí de US Soccer, que
A
estuve
una
con una
cosa, a un
gente.
evento, un
Ah,
evento.
bueno, un evento ahí con alguna gente famosa ahí, que estuvo el famoso Ray Hudson, estuvo el famoso Nico Cantor, y bueno, estuvo la fiera argentina Maxi Rodríguez. Estuvo por ahí, pudimos hablar con él, el socio, Ever, los tres, hablamos con él un ratito, y bueno, él nos dijo que lo que tenía Messi era lo que dijo el Tata, que tenía una una lesión vieja, que tenía una cicatriz y que la cicatriz se le había abierto y que se le estaba sangrando y que por eso, tipo, ese tipo de cicatriz, tipo abierta, le dolía y que por eso tenía una molestia y no podía jugar. Bueno, es lo que nos dijo a nosotros. Si es la verdad, no sé. Yo estoy más del lado tuyo, ¿no? Que tiene algún problema muscular y se está ahí por romper, solo porque el miércoles cuando lo vi contra Toronto, cuando él dio ese pase, lo vi, no se agarró la pierna, no se agarró el
No,
posterior,
no, no,
pero
no, no.
lo vi tipo dar el pase y lo vi caminar más o menos, vamos a decir, livianito, ¿no? Tipo,
Sí, es que cuando sabes, es que cuando uno se conoce el cuerpo de uno mismo y cuando sabe que se está a punto de romper, a la
sí,
primera que uno hace, suelta.
es
A
eso.
la primera. Entonces, una vez cuando soltás, dijiste, uy, si sigo metiéndole presión, me rompo por completo. Entonces prefiero dosificar y ver qué es lo que tengo. El problema es que no le encuentran nada, de acuerdo a lo que reporta el club, ¿no? Vamos a hablar en serio. Nosotros no
Sí,
tenemos ningún otro detalle de lo que no nos esté dando el club, que eso es lo que nos da el club. Que por cierto, muy mala fe fue eso de agarrar y promocionar el partido diciendo de que Messi entrenó, de que estamos todo bien, que esto es lo otro, que a lo mejor juegue solo para vender entradas y para que la gente vaya al partido, porque después Messi terminó ni siquiera siendo suplente y la gente estaba muy encontrada con sus sensaciones, ¿no? O sea,
sí, sí, sí.
muy enojada.
Bueno, te puedo decir, los chilenos que fueron de mi banco al palco ahí estaban re locos porque lo tenían a Messi al lado. Así que qué suerte, ¿eh? No lo vieron jugar, pero bueno, lo tuvieron ahí al lado todo el partido. Me imagino que pudieron hablar con él o algo. Este,
No mucho, lo
¿viste,
dudo.
¿Viste ayer a Zidane que estuvo ahí en la cancha?
Estuvo Zidane ahí, sí,
A
muy
ver,
bien.
¿Zidane pagó la entrada o no?
¿Qué va a pagar Zidane? ¿Qué va a pagar Zidane?
Este, te,
¿Vos te
todo-
crees que ha pagado Zidane?
Bueno, yo pregunto, porque ayer estuve con un loco que vino desde Israel a ver a Messi, pobre,
¿Y cuánto
y
pagó?
bueno, pagó el vuelo, viajó las 10 horas, pagó $500 y no jugó Messi, pobrecito. Así que, y otro que viajó desde Minnesota a ver a Messi, tampoco lo pudo ver. Así que, pero bueno,
Una
así es
vergüenza.
el.
Para mí eso es falta de tacto del club. Y aparte, para colmo, después de perder, después de no tener a Messi, hoy les salió la gran idea de mandarle a todos los season ticket holders, a todos los que tienen tickets por temporada, su renovación y cuántos les va a costar.
Sí, y a eso vamos a ir ahora, a eso vamos a ir ahora. Pero
Desastroso.
antes de llegar a eso, te quería preguntar un poquito más de esto, de lo que estamos hablando.
Mira, pobre
Este,
Frankie, $800 por boleto pagó para ir a ayer. Pobre Frankie,
pobrecito, pobrecito.
pobre Frankie.
No, no, una locura. Te quería comentar, eh, el club ayer posteó una foto, o creo que el martes posteó una foto que Messi entrenó.
Correcto.
Vos te diste cuenta que esa foto que el club posteó, la cuenta del club, Messi tenía barba. No sé si te diste cuenta.
No, no la
Messi
vi.
tenía barba en esa foto. Messi no tiene barba. Así que el club posteó una foto
¿Seguro?
vieja,
A ver,
seguro.
a
Seguro.
ver, vamos a ver.
Vos ponete a buscar, que
Vamos a
yo
hacer el
lo vi.
research ahora. Vamos a
Que
hacer
yo
el
lo
research
vi y
ahora mismo.
también nuestro amigo, yo lo vi porque nuestro amigo Sebas Crack Ball lo tuiteó hoy, así que por eso lo vi, gracias a él. Pero sí, una locura lo que cuestan las entradas. Pobrecito Frankie, que pagó 800 cada uno para ver ese desastre. Pero mirá, eso se está viendo en todos lados, Nico. El partido de Inter Miami contra el Dallas en Dallas también se vieron las entradas en $500 para arriba. El partido contra
Sí,
Atlanta.
pero a ver, pero eso es porque están en otros estadios, están yendo a otras ciudades, pero en el estadio de uno, donde juegan 40 partidos por temporada, no tendrían que por qué pagar eso.
Sí, eso lo entiendo, eso lo entiendo. Pero bueno, vamos a entrar un poco a lo que van a ser las entradas ahora el año que viene, ¿no? Que la verdad que es una locura lo que están subiendo las entradas. Tenemos amigos que nos están preguntando a nosotros si debería renovar o no. Y bueno, depende de lo que te subió la entrada, ¿no? Porque eh, vamos, yo voy a poner ahí el gráfico y ahí hablamos, ¿eh? A ver. Bueno, ahí vemos. Bueno, está un poco chico ahí, pero bueno, yo se los puedo leer desde el teléfono igual, porque lo tengo acá. Este, pero si ven ahí, algunas de las entradas de Inter Miami están subiendo más de 300% desde lo que estaban el año pasado. Es decir, el año pasado la entrada más barata era $485, ¿no? Este año, el 2024, la más barata va a ser $884. Así que ahí es el doble. Y
Vergonzoso.
ojo, la de la barra brava, ¿eh? Así que le están
Sí.
subiendo
Y
el
ahí no, y
precio
ahí, exacto,
100%.
100%.
Una
Sí, no, es una
locura.
locura, es una locura, es una locura, pero bueno, pasa porque hay supply and demand, ¿no? Mientras más demanda haya, más se van a vender, o sea, la gente va a querer comprarlo. Ese
Y
es el
es
gran problema
eso.
que está pasando.
Es eso, el equipo ve que la gente está pagando 300, 400, 500 a los revendedores y bueno, el equipo se va a poner, ¿no? Se va a poner así y si ellos quieren hacer la plata, ¿no? No los revendedores. Así que
Exacto.
no, 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 digo, yo entiendo, esto para mí, yo entiendo que para el equipo es un negocio esto. No es solo fútbol, es un negocio y bueno, si la gente va a pagar y el club va a cobrar, yo no tengo
Es
ningún
que,
problema
es
que cobren esos
que,
precios.
es que ¿cómo van a pagarle el salario a Messi? Si no.
Y es eso, es eso. Eso y ojo, el club está construyendo no solo un estadio, pero están construyendo un complejo entero donde van a haber hoteles, edificios, todo eso, que es más de $1.000.000.000. Así que el club tiene que recaudar por alguna manera, ¿no? Si no es de las camisetas, bueno, tiene que ser de las entradas y bueno, ese es otro tema que quiero entrar ahora un poco de la camiseta,
Ah,
pero
querés hablar de todo hoy.
sí, es que te dije, hoy
Pero
estamos
aguantalo para la otra semana,
re.
hermano. Si no, después de la otra semana no tenemos con qué carajo hablar.
No, con este equipo siempre hay cosas de hablar, hay cosas que hablar. Bueno, ya vemos que subieron los precios un disparate, pero vamos a comparar un poco con los precios de las otras ligas de los Estados Unidos, ¿no? Así que
Epa.
acá la producción nos puso esta placa acá. Y bueno, vamos a leer un poco. La NFL es la más cara, ¿no? El promedio de una entrada para un partido de la NFL es $151. Y bueno, pará, el promedio
But
de un partido de
that's
Inter
because
Miami,
wait, but that's because you have 8 games a season
that's
in
correct.
the NFL. So
That's correct.
you have less amount of games, which is understandable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But, I mean, the lowest ticket is $21 compared to,
Where
the
the
low,
heck do you go to watch a $21 game at the NFL? The Cleveland
uh,
Browns,
not anymore. Maybe Detroit. Uh, Maybe the Broncos. They're 0-3.
Jacksonville Jaguars.
Possibly, man, possibly. So I mean, something I thought that was pretty crazy was that the average NHL ticket, not to get off topic, average NHL, it was $83, almost double the MLS. I'm sorry, man, but an MLS game is a lot more exciting than an NHL game.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Why? Because of the fights?
There's some NHL games that are pretty good, man.
I don't know, man.
Depends
I've been
on.
to
I think it depends on the city too.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, you can see here in the NBA. I mean, the NBA, the average ticket is 94. Like I said, MLS is 48, and the average ticket for MLS for Major League Baseball is 36. I think that's more of a dying sport, and I think that's going to be going down and down and down. Now, here's the curious thing, Nico, and this is where I think we're going to have most of our conversation because it's good to compare to the other sports and say, oh, the MLS is still low compared to NBA and NFL. But look at what the supporter section ticket prices this season are for some of the bigger teams around the league, that I was able to get some of the information. It's important to know that the ticket prices, the average MLS ticket price over the last 10 years has been between $45 and $55. It has not changed. It's been stable for 10 years.
Okay,
And
what
these
are
are
we looking at? What are we looking at for next season for Miami? The average,
so
100 bucks.
next year, the average ticket price for Inter Miami, it depends. So you're looking at something, if you're in the supporters section, you're probably looking at something close to, I don't know, $50 a game. If you're gonna sit, you want a decent ticket like on the sideline, you're looking at $2,000 a ticket at around 20 games. You're looking at $100 a game. So I mean, it's a lot of.
17 games. It's 17 games.
Well, no, actually, it's about 20 games because you get 17 games plus you get one U.S. Open game. I did my research on this. You get one U.S. Open game, one Leagues Cup game, and then one preseason game. So you get about 19 to 20 games on average for each one of these. But it's crazy, man. You can see, look, Cincinnati in the supporter section is about $20 a game. The team up there in Central Florida, it's like $16 a game. That's really cheap. Real Salt Lake is $15 a game in the supporters section. Dude, even this year in Inter Miami, I think it's like $40 a ticket in the supporters section. So even this year, they're on the higher end, which is pretty
Yeah.
crazy. It was about $500 a ticket. So you put that $500 and you're looking at about 30. You're really close to like that Atlanta United or Portland. So it's about $25 to $30 a game. So you're still on the higher side. And it was a very poor product this season until Messi got here. So, if I'm a season ticket holder, I'm very pissed off. But if I'm Inter Miami, I also understand that, hey, this is a business. And like you said, supply and demand. If somebody's willing
Yeah,
to
I'm pretty sure they did their research and they went on and they do have contracts with suppliers like Ticketmaster, StubHub, and they probably went on and told them, hey, look, give us the numbers of what's the median, what's the average price that tickets are going for after fees and all, and they based their numbers according to that.
Of course.
Obviously, they gotta, like we said before, they gotta pay Messi salary, and this is one way to do it.
Absolutely, and possibly any other players that they are going to bring in possibly next season, like who have been rumored. And again, they still have to you know put a roster together for next season. So all that and all the the money is going to go towards that. Should I save my other gripe with the team for next week? It's about the jerseys. I mean, it's a really good one, man. I just
Yeah,
want to
save
save
that
our
for next
followers
week,
some
man.
money. You
Save
sure? I
it for
want to
next
save our
week.
followers some money.
If you want to save your followers some money, tell them to call Ever. He's got the hookup.
I'm just all right. We'll save it for next week, man. It's just a curious point that I thought, man. But that's all we have for this week, man. I don't know if you have anything else for our followers. Go
I
ahead
mean,
and
let's see if we can preview. Well, there's not much to preview, We're
that's
just
what I'm saying.
hopeful that
We know
hopeful that they can pull out a victory this coming weekend. Um,
absolutely.
New York is not the greatest team, but they're also not the weakest, you know. So
No, they have, like I said, they have really good individual players. They have Santi Rodriguez, who's a Uruguayan. Of course, I gotta mention him. Always gotta drop the Uruguayan thing, and then
Julian
we'll get.
Fernandez.
It's all right. We'll get Socio here to comment on me saying something about Uruguay in 2 seconds. And they have a couple Argentinians as well on the team. So I mean, they had a good transfer window. They brought a couple players in, and it's gonna be an interesting game. Like we said, Messi is most likely not going to play. He'll be ruled out. Alba is
Probably
definitely
not
not
even
going to
gonna
play,
dress up.
and then Busquets is probably gonna be a wait and see. Nico,
He looked really bad. He looked really slow. He looked
he
really
looked
bad.
tired. Yeah,
He looked tired. Yeah. Yeah.
this really could be a game where you could see maybe a David Ruiz with a Ben Kakaremashi and maybe a Facundo Farias in the middle.
Don't be surprised if Jan Mota plays. And the reason why I say that is because tomorrow, for the match day -1 activities at the stadium, Tata Martino's not even going to be in the presser. They're sending out Javier Morales, who's the assistant coach, and Jan Mota to do the press duties.
So if they're
So don't
sending
be
out
surprised.
Mota, yeah, it could be Mota might get the start.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But since we're so thin, hey, it's better than Ulloa starting. So
Hey man, I mean, but it goes back to Diego Gomez starting. Yesterday. People coming off injuries and starting right away. Do they
yeah,
really have the momentum going forward? Do they have the how would you say this? Um, the playing time needed to start a game of this importance.
right, yeah.
And I don't
To
think
start a
so.
final. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I wholeheartedly agree that Tata completely dropped the ball on that one. And I think what he was trying to do was just give us, give Inter Miami a little bit more in the attack. I think that's what Diego Gomez does. Te da más
He
en el
covers a
medio.
lot of ground. He
That's what I'm
covers a
saying.
lot of ground, but
He's a box to box.
you can clearly tell that he wasn't ready. The guy wasn't
Right.
match fit. He was
Estaba,
not match fit.
estaba impreciso con los pases, and like you said, he was not match fit. He just wasn't there. And I think that was what really dropped the ball for Inter Miami. I see that Frankie is talking about CR7 going to some wrestling event in Saudi Arabia. Man, look, man, I've been seeing all over Twitter people talking crap
He's
about
balling,
Messi
man.
missing a final.
Yo,
CR7?
CR7 is balling, dude. He's balling.
He is, bro. He is. But I want to mention something, bro. People have been talking shit about Messi, and I'm not necessarily Messi's
But
biggest
what can you
fan,
talk shit about?
I want to come to his defense. Well, they're saying CR7 never missed a final and this and that. I want to say this, bro. CR7 came out of a final injured, and bro, like, don't talk shit about that. Messi's injured, bro. What do you mean? CR7 wouldn't have missed a final. If CR7
He
was
came out of
injured,
the most important final.
that's what I'm saying. He came out of the European final injured. So like, let's not talk shit about Messi being injured and not showing up, bro. The guy's injured. The guy's injured, bro. It is what it is, right? Let's not.
It is
Let's
what
not.
it is, and it's not to his importance either. Like we care about Inter Miami, but let's be honest, guys. Messi's here to just have fun.
Messi's here to
It's all
enjoy
about
Miami.
vibes.
Exactly, bro. Enjoy Miami, enjoy the beaches. And really, this probably wasn't Messi's choice. This was Antonella's choice. Let's be real. Antonella probably chose Miami. So muchas gracias, Anto.
I think they both did. I think it's
Yeah,
mutual.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think
you
Messi
know.
likes it here.
Before we let everybody go, one thing I saw today that was kind of weird, and I want to get your opinion because you're a big fan of Banchero's pizza, man. But
Epa.
bro, Messi hasn't played. He's only played 30 minutes since he ate that pizza.
I don't think the pizza has anything to do with it, man.
No, man, you don't think
I
so?
don't think so. I don't think so. But if you're out there, yo, if you go to Bancheros, say that Nico sent you, Nico Bayless sent you, and the pizza's on me.
Oh man, there you go, bro. Bancheros pizza is on Nico Bayless, bro. There you go, man. Well,
They'll treat you well.
they'll treat you well, man. It is some good pizza, man. So if you're out there on the beach, it is some really, really good pizza. So definitely head out there. Like you said, man, free pizza on Nico, man. Go out there
Free
and
pizza on me.
get your free pizza. All right. If you don't have anything else, I don't have anything else. We're gonna keep this one short. It's a Thursday.
Saturday. Inter Miami 2, New York City FC 1.
Oh man, I'm gonna go with a 2-2. I'm gonna go with a draw, man. I don't think they're gonna win. I just don't think they're gonna win. Yeah, man. I think it's gonna be a draw, a 2-2 draw.
That's it. There goes the playoffs hopes.
I don't think so, man. I don't think so because I think they can still win against Chicago, and I still think they can win against Cincinnati and one of the games against Charlotte. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man. So you got the 2-1. I got the 2-2. We'll see what happens on Saturday. We'll be back with you guys on next Tuesday. If you don't follow us on all of our accounts, definitely do that. It's at TI Football Podcast. That's TIFUTBOL Podcast. That's on Instagram, on Twitter, and definitely follow us on YouTube. We're going to have some really, really cool giveaways coming up. Don't forget, we still have the Javier Zanetti giveaway. We have the jersey. We're going to give it away on an upcoming episode. So don't miss out on that. Hit the little bell so you are reminded of that. We'll be back with you guys next Tuesday. Let's see what happens with Inter Miami. We're out.
Peace.
We'll see you later.
Sudando la